All right, jumping on into our next match here. Looks like we've got both players with reasonable keeps on their 7. We got Dimstar playing Black Red Lurrus versus Landfear on Jeskai Cycling.
Okay. Oh, have you seen this deck, by the way?
We played against it
Okay.
yesterday on stream.
It's actually pretty good. It's it's really stupid in theory, but it's hilarious. It's actually really strong. I watched a
Yeah, I
little bit of
mean,
this
I mean,
yesterday.
flourishing. We're gonna have to pull up some cards for this one. I think flourish is it flourishing fox
Yeah, Flourishing Fox,
is
+1/+1 for each time you cycle. It's
is a
plus one plus
card
one
that
counter.
like this card gets really big really fast. We see here like flourishing fox
Yes.
doing a wild Nicodle impersonation, just attacking for 3 on turn 2.
Yeah, so I played this matchup before. You definitely need like the Dimstar has the tools here. They have Witch's Oven and they have Claim the Firstborn. Like if you get rid of this card, their deck doesn't do a ton.
Yep,
But it's you gotta do it. You gotta
yep,
have the Claim in the Oven.
yep. As Matt said, claim along with oven here gonna really show up to wreck the flourishing fox's day. We're gonna see that grab the fox and then sacrifice it post combat. So send that 3 damage back up Atlanta Fear.
Yep.
Something that's worth noting too is like all of these companions are split casting costs, so it's very easy to think of Lurrus as a white black card or as like a mono black card, but it's also important to remember that like it's a mono white card as well, right? So we see
Yep.
Lanafear's deck also playing the Lurrus companion, but they are notably not playing any black sources.
Yeah, Lanfear has like Lurrus is basically just for the Fox. And then basically what they do is they go over the top. Once they've cycled, half dozen times, they've dealt a little bit of chip damage. They're able to Zenith Flare you and kill you basically out of nowhere.
We
So
see I kind of like this from Dimstar. They're not killing the flourishing fox array. They're going to let it
yeah,
get a little bit bigger.
yeah, I'm totally okay with that. Like, and this is a free block like all the time.
Yep,
So
yep.
like
The cat oven basically just fogs it. What is this card called? This is Dream Ink.
Granite Healer, it's just a vanilla tutu. That's it. The only other card that really does anything is the 3/1. I can't remember the name off the top, but it
Sir,
makes
sir, this gains life.
this doesn't do anything. It's vanilla.
It doesn't do anything. It's vanilla. It probably keeps parity with the cat, right?
Sort of, yes. The cat goes off though.
The cat still gets to block a bunch, right?
Yeah. Um. Yeah, it's pretty good here though for Dimstar. They need to eat the. She's gonna
And
not to
then
eat.
on Lanafair's side, what's the card called? Is it Zenith Flare? Is the
Zenith
big
Flare.
the
Yes,
big
there it is.
payoff?
Yep. There's the
Yep.
rip
So we
right
see
there.
the Zenith Flare come up top. This is the big payoff for the cycling archetype is Zenith Flare here. Deal X damage to any target, and
Yes.
basically every card in Lanafear's deck has cycling 1. So it basically just can dome the opponent for damage equal to the number of cards in your graveyard.
Yep. It just scolds you, and it's like pretty quick. It's one of those things. It's kind of like expansion explosion in a way. It's very good. It's unassuming. It's very good. It's also like one of the best cards you can possibly play in draft if that's your thing. This red white cycling deck, the archetype in draft is very powerful. And there's Lurrus. Looks like they're gonna get paid for holding on to the claim. I think is kind of what they're waiting for. Hmm. Footfall Crater is the one though that like. So now, Football Crater. Are you familiar with Footfall Crater
That's
at
the
all?
that's the give something haste, right?
And Trample notably. So like you
Oh, it
get to
gives trample. Well,
yeah.
that's huge.
Yeah, so this Cauldron Familiar doesn't get to block forever, so it's going to take some work here.
Losing the Lurrus is a big deal.
Yeah, totally agree with you there.
I see the arena interface being wonderful, showing us the count on that Zenith Flare there, all the way up to
Yep,
6 points of damage.
yep, super nice.
No guessing how big this card's going to be for. We know it just sits there, looks at us in the face.
Yeah, that's a nice buffer too. Lurrus gaining 3 life is no joke. So able to go up to 21. Like these Zenith Flares, there's the one right there that I was talking about. Every time you cycle the card for the first time, it makes a 1/1.
This is explicitly for when you cycle another card for the first time each turn. So this card can make
Yeah.
a 1/1. Notably, it isn't turn cycle, it's each individual turn. So this card can technically pump out 2 1/1s per turn cycle, right?
Right. It's very good at going wide. It's a little worse against obviously Mayhem Devil is very good against this card. This Dreadhorde Butcher is actually gonna be pretty solid.
Yeah, I was gonna say
too.
I kind of expect to see Dreadhorde Butcher from Dimstar's side kill the 3/1 here before it can go too wide.
Yeah, Go for Blood is the last one. I believe that's the one that fights a creature. And this is pretty rough though.
We see Lurrus just chewing cards out of Lanafear's hand.
Yeah, big fan of Lurrus and Cruxa together. So they're able to cycle this. Oh, that's scary. Yep. Yeah, this Zenith Flare is so much damage, though. But, with Dimstar being at 20, they're in pretty good shape here. The problem is, they've already burned one claim, so if they don't find another claim, this Fox, if it ever gets to get another Footfall Crater, it's going to be pretty tough to deal with.
Yeah, I was honestly a little surprised to see Croxa. I was honestly a little surprised to see Croxa get cast last turn with the Lurrus as opposed to the Dreadhorde Butcher killing the 3/1.
I think this is okay because you're able to chump. The 3/1 can't attack. Well, I guess it's going to attack.
Yeah, I think this attack is actually good. I think if they want to trade their
Take 6.
Yeah, if they want to trade, I guess they're only taking 3, right? Because the Lurrus is going to gain.
Yeah.
Lurrus is going to gain 3 on the combat up here. So
Yeah.
they're pushing some damage. Losing the Footfall Crater as opposed to getting it into play to give trample felt rough.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you. There's some consideration here for me to stick Lurrus in front of the 3/1, because you can buy it back with the call, the Death Dweller.
With the call, yep.
But this is fine. You have Dreadhorde Butcher to shotgun down the rest of the pieces here.
Yeah, I mean, next turn we can even realistically see Dreadhorde Butcher, sack it, kill the 3/1, recast the Dreadhorde Butcher.
Right, it's pretty solid. Yeah, this deck is really sweet. It has a lot of lines, the Rakdos decks.
Really, really aggressive use of the Zenith Flare here. I'm not quite sure why
Wow.
we're firing that off that turn as opposed to waiting.
Yeah, that's mega aggressive. Boy, this is a beating now. Yeah, this is really, really good for Dimstar.
Yeah, and this Croxa just gets to get the last card of their hand. I'll be interested to see if Dimstar values getting the 3/1 off the table. Honestly, at this point, you might not even care just because they're empty-handed.
I don't think so. I actually think, excuse me, I actually think you have to attack with Lurrus this turn also.
Yeah, I think you just play the second Butcher and smack him in the face for. You could smack him for 5. I guess the Lurrus keeps the 1/1 back, but that really isn't doing a whole lot, right? Are we playing a Butcher on defense? I guess we could be eating a food here. If we're worried about our life total, eating a food doesn't seem terrible.
It's also valid. All right, well, it's not a flare, so they're in the clear here. And I think this one's just going to start to turn rather quickly.
Yeah, I agree. The health totals are obviously very heavily in favor of Dimstar, but it's important to remember in Magic the life total is not a scoreboard, right? So I think if I was playing this game, I would much rather be in Dimstar's seat. They appear to be driving for the time being.
Yep, this is definitely good here. Get to go up to.
We see Lurrus trade for that 3/1 there.
Yeah, big fan because you get the Lurrus back. This is great.
And they're thinking about Zenith Flare, right? And they actually can't beat a Flare at this point.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they could sack a food. I think that tank there was, do they play around it by not sacking a food? Because if Lanafear had the card there, they would have died. Dimstar would have died in response.
Yep. Another cat. Yeah, this is pretty good though for Dimstar. Able to just chump this Fox for a long time now.
Yep.
This Butcher's going to get big enough they're hoping that Butcher gets big enough eventually to deal with the Fox,
Yep.
or that it buys enough time where they can.
Well, the call here can actually put Death Touch on something too, right?
Yeah, Menace and Death Touch, right?
Yep. He's like get to keep free rolling the Crocs every turn, just like a free discard a card and or deal 3.
Yep, pretty solid. And you get to eat it. Man, that's good for a couple foods.
Yep. Lets you getting the 2 foods from the Croxa means that you get to just like chump with both cats and like still get both of them back and like not be really losing any ground while doing so.
Yep, and Zenith Flare is basically off the table at this point because they're at 15. They're at just so much.
Yep.
And your 7/7 can no longer attack. Boy, that's a beating. All right. I mean, you get to play your entire hand here. Yeah, this is great. This is a nice use of the red black stack. I think this deck is really good against like these small creature decks too. Like,
yep.
Especially you'll see post board if they have dead weights and things like that. It's really difficult for the style of deck.
One of the things, and I am in no way complaining about this, that I feel like the format has pivoted a little bit with the new set release is that mono red has really basically just like fallen off to a point of being mostly non-existent.
Yep.
And I think a large part of that is because of mono red's inability to really attack this red black deck.
Yep. Yeah, I definitely agree. You know, is Dimstar the one that had the ley lines too?
Yeah. Dimstar is the one we came into their match at the very end earlier today, and they had a couple of copies of ley line in their sideboard.
Imagine playing Zenith Flare cycling deck against someone who's got ley lines in their deck.
Yeah. And actually, I was gonna say, like, do you think Dimstar brings in the ley lines post board in this matchup? Ooh,
that's a decent sized chunk.
Okay, I mean, like,
a decent one.
Do you trade your Lurrus for this 8/8 now?
1,000,000,000%, yes.
I think you got it, right?
There's a 1,000,000% chance, yes.
Otherwise, that Footfall Crater again, like we mentioned earlier, Footfall Crater, in addition to giving haste, does give trample.
Yeah, I would very happily take 3 points from this.
They could trade both Butchers. That's true, and Lurrus lets them recast the Butchers. Could be reasonable as well.
That's true. I don't hate that one.
Maybe Dimstar missed the fact that they trample. I'm going to be honest, Matthew. Until you pointed it out, I did not realize Footfall Crater gave trample.
I watched Cedric Phillips. Cedric, if you're watching, hi. I watched him die to a Footfall Cratered Death Shadow. It was quite entertaining.
That's something. Footfall Crater Death Shadow.
It was sick.
Yeah, okay.
I was like, oh, this is what's happening here. Okay. Yeah.
Deck lists are current on the Stream Decker, by the way, so if you want easy access to either of these players' deck lists, you can find them there on the overlay. Again, if you're someone watching at home and you want access to any of the 250 almost deck lists in this tournament, you can find those on the MTG Melee page.
6, 7. I guess this is this lethal? I think this is lethal, yeah.
Yeah, this looks like we're going to be lethal here. They take 5 from the Lurrus and the cats, and then the oven deals another 3, and the Crocs are coming back from the bin deals another 3. Yep.
All right. And there's Croxa for the lightning bolt.
Yep. All right. So heading on into sideboard here with the red-black deck being up a match. You can see here that quick toggle on of the okay, we're no longer playing a companion. And did they bring in all 15 cards?
Looks like it. I am almost certainly would do the same, to be honest. You don't care about like the small things like Whisper Squad probably horrible at this point.
Oh, they're recutting some cards here. Okay. They're shuffling in all 15, Matthew, and then cutting a couple.
You know, Act of Treason's not miserable though. Like Act of Treason's pretty good.
It's tough, right? Like, so like the effect is okay, but like, is it worth having more claims when your claims cost 3 in this matchup?
It's really close, man.
I don't know. I feel like one thing we notably didn't see out of the Lurrus deck that game was there was no Priest of the Forgotten Gods in the mix.
Yeah.
And Priest definitely feels like a card here. Our cycling
Priest isn't great.
Our cycling player boarded very quickly. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see what's in the cycling deck sideboard?
No, I missed it.
There are 4 Deafening Clarions in
That's
Land of
good.
Fear sideboard.
So if
Yeah.
you see that, like, there's no way I keep Whisper Squad in then.
Yep, and that's actually a good point too. Like this is heads up, right? So like deck lists are public, so Dimstar knows that they're going to be playing against 4 Clarions here, and Lanofear knows that they're going to be playing against Leyline of the Void.
So you mentioned Priests of Forgotten Gods. Looks like it's come in here. I'm trying to just peek in there. Looks like it's come in for now. I don't love Priests of Forgotten Gods because they make so many tokens. Like once they get going,
I mean, there's only one
tough.
thing you have to keep off the table to keep the tokens in check, right? And it's probably not, if you assume that the opponent's going to have Deafening Clarion, like their token plan might be something they pivot off of.
It's also valid.
And this is one of those interesting like leveling type things where, you're not boarding against the deck you just played against. You need to be boarding against the deck you're going to be playing against. And having these heads up deck lists in a tournament like this really adds a layer to that skill. And you can see Dimstar going back and forth here. They're not sure if they want to be on ley lines or not.
There's like no chance I don't bring in ley lines.
And this is one of the things where they're going to run out of time. They're going to run out of time. Close. So this is one of the things where people talk about open deck lists hurting rogue decks. I actually don't think that's true. Because, like, there's more to playing a rogue deck than people just not knowing the cards you're playing. Like, not having repetitions in and not knowing ideal sideboard configurations is a big part of playing decks that are less represented, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Dimstar has a nice opener again here. The claim in the oven. Another claim. Holy cow, that's great.
Claim the Firstborn is just, like, easily one of your best cards in these small creature matchups. Not close.
It's quite good. I like to start though on Lanfear's deck.
This is an interesting decision on Dimstar's side. How do you feel about this? They have the token maker. Yeah, I don't know that I'm a fan. Like there's the token maker staring you in the face, and you could just claim it and oven it.
Yeah, I would attack you can claim, you can attack and see what they want to do. There's all kinds of different lines, but I don't think I want that token maker on the field, especially if I have priests in my hand.
It's kind of the greedy line, right? Like the upside to playing the priest is you get to take their thing and then sack it to the priest.
Yep.
So they're just like making a no removal there. It's a
big deal.
We have, do you see the 3-mana enchantment there in Line of Fear's hand up top?
Yeah, that card's actually very good as well. It's another way to like, it plays around things like claim.
Yep, very, very interesting. Reptilian Reflection here. 3-mana enchantment. Whenever you cycle a card, you may have it become a 5/4 with notably trample here. So key to being a creature deck and punching through these cats with the ovens is that trample mechanic.
Yeah, this is going to get out of control though. I don't know. There's devaluing other creatures instead of this 3/1, and 3/1's quite annoying at this point.
Now the Reptilian Reflection also notably a good card if you expect. Oh, it has haste.
It has haste.
Oh, I missed the haste.
Yeah,
Everything has all the keywords, Matthew.
Yeah, that's why it's great against claim and active treason. Like this is a beating right now. I mean, you're just gonna eat 5. Like flares are gonna be pretty brutal rather quickly here.
Yeah, and I like this card. The Reptilian Reflection's a good way too, because Dimstar potentially has Leyline of the Void, and Reptilian Reflection's a cycle payoff that doesn't care about your graveyard.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about, though. Like, this Priest of Forgotten Gods has already lost a lot of stock. Like, well, now it looks great.
Lanofear here, worth noting, their deck overall has a fairly low land count, and by low land count, wow, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't expecting it to be that low. There are 16 lands in Lanofear's deck.
Yeah, I've seen some that go as low as 13, and I'm like, what is going on here?
Yep.
It's insanity.
And something worth noting here is they've got a lot of lands in play, and it feels like they're flooding out, but it's important to remember, too, the proportion of lands, the number of cards they've seen, right? Like,
yes,
when your deck is mostly 1-mana cyclers, it's very easy to justify having such a low land count.
Yeah, there's so many cyclers. Crux is a decent pickup, I suppose, but
it's worth noting here too. Some people commenting on land counts that they've played in similar decks. Something especially to note about Leonfear's deck is their curve stops at 2. These Reptilian Reflections out of the sideboard is the most expensive card in their deck.
Yep. Yeah, this deck's actually really sweet. It's one of those ones you're like, haha, there's a stupid cycling deck in standard, and you're like, and then you play against it and you're like, okay, wow, I just died to this thing.
Yep. And again, something that we didn't really talk about from Landfear's side is we again see a player concluding that they want to give up having a companion in order to play a more expensive card out of the sideboard. Yep. So Landfear has concluded here that having access to Reflection post-board is more valuable than Lurrus.
Yeah, I mean, and like, Dimstar's just getting beat down by this stupid Reptilian Reflection.
Yep,
like,
it's... And again, we see them, like, these claims and these active trees is just, like, hanging out in hand, or Reptilian Reflection is just like, I'm never a creature on your turn.
Yep. Down to 7. Back up to 9 here, right?
Yep.
But again, like, a 1 Zenith Flare and the game's over.
Okay, we see that 4th land come down here.
Yeah, that's a nice rip.
I didn't catch how Leonfear sideboarded entirely. I don't know if they boarded the Zenith Flares out in some number, because that card is just a blank if your graveyard's gone, right?
That's fair. Just a lot of lands here, though, for Landfear. They just need to slow instead of keep hitting cyclers.
Yep.
And they drew a Fox. Okay.
Fox, and now here's an interesting question. Like, the Fox can cycle, right? So, like, do you play the Fox and potentially turn on claims and active treasons, or do you just save it as a way to keep hammering in with this Raptor? And maybe it depends on what they do here, right? Like, if we triple block, now you play the Fox, right?
Yep, for sure. And this is going to be... This is nice. I mean, it clears out the board. It does deal with the reflection. But I mean...
And I think very suddenly here, you know, Dimstar, and I feel like we see this out of the red-black deck a lot. I feel like in these aggressive mirror matches, the red-black deck is the control deck.
Yeah, the red-black, definitely the control deck. I mentioned Mayhem Devil being like able to ping off these last few things. Dimstar looks pretty much going to be out of the woods here. I mean...
Love this line. Sacrifice this Serrated Scorpion after combat to get that 6th card in the graveyard for Kroxa, so you can get your big Titan here.
Yeah, and Dimstar's really far ahead now.
Yep.
Just basically needs to fade like running flares.
Yeah, I think we're solidly in garbage time if we don't see a flare come off the top, and we see Landfear identify that, I think, and just like, all right, time to go looking. They've got one out, and it's Zenith Flare, and let's do it. They're actually dead next turn, right? Yeah, they have claim plus treason. Yep.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, that's gonna be all she wrote for this one.
Yeah, there's a claim on the Fox, an act of treason on the 1/1 token, and
we're gonna go ahead and take it down, huh? All right. Yeah, the red black Lurrus deck looking really impressive so far.
Yeah, it was really well played. Basically on both ends there. The sacrifice deck with Mayhem Devils and so many claims, like, preys on stuff like that for the most part. It's tough, but it's a sweet deck though. The red-white cycling deck.
Okay, I think we have another feature here that we're gonna be able to jump right into, and this is I believe we still have on both sides. Take a peekaboo.